fast life meets the fast lane.
Yeah.
You're now tuned into Bars and Hoops Radio.
Yeah.
The world of hip-hop and sports live.
Dropping the clutch and then I hit the gas. Wheels screeching, tires burning, I'm flying past. Gotta get home quick, don't wanna miss the class. They schooling you on whips and how to make them fast. Talking about everything from cars to planes. What's hot, what's next, and how to flip the game. They talk in my language, we speak the same. That whip talk complex, but yet they keep it plain. From the news, the interviews, they keep it cool. They give reviews, everything from parts to tunes. Can't lose, come to whips, they not no fools. Don't miss the show, the start time is noon. The bearded one, S.I. Sean, they crazy though. You can't miss it, tune in the Rally Radio.
Where the fast life meets the fast lane.
Boo, 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 boo. Shout to everybody who's tuned in, paying attention. We appreciate y'all early. You already know what it is. Let's go. Shout to everybody who's tuned in, paying attention. As you can see, with no delay, we got our guy today, Wayne Speed, in the building. Wayne Speed is here, y'all. He made it in here. He came to talk to us today. Got some things he want to talk to us about. Shout to Wayne Speed. Let's go, man. Give him a round of applause for one of the Tri-State's greatest tuners. Got anything you want to say, Wayne? We in the building.
I'm just here for the questions, man.
Well, I tell you what, first of all, shout to everybody who's tuned in, paying attention. We appreciate y'all early. Shout to everybody who's dropping in. Shout to Tisha, she's in the building early. Shout to Jessica Grandy, we appreciate y'all. You already know what it is. Shout to everybody who's tuned in, paying attention. We are in the building. With that being said, this is Rally Radio. You know where to find us every Saturday, 12 noon, YouTube at Rally Radio Podcast, one of the automotive podcasts in the building. And with that being said, Tisha said, good afternoon, Wayne. She said, good afternoon to you. Let's go. With that being said, we are in the building. And you know how we get down here, man. First and foremost, I want to send a quick shout out to all car guys and car girls out there, certified car guys and car girls. I've had a lot of interactions over the past week and some change, couple weeks, and it's been tremendous. One, with our special guest today, Mr. Wayne Speed, and also Rick's Magazine. Wanted to send a quick shout out to them. Joe Ain, happy birthday to him. Great interactions. Shout to my guy Marlon. You already know what it is. Shout to my guy Marlon. He said, what's up, Wayne? So we are in the building, man. We are here. I know everybody's waking up. We up here early. But with that being said, man, like I said, shout out to everybody who's tuned in, paying attention, man. It has definitely been going on. Shout to One Turbo Max in the building on the show. Touch a button. Let's go. Said, say something, Wayne. He said, what you got for him today? Oh, man, don't worry. It's definitely going to be one of the kind of shows. We got a lot of things we want to talk about today. A lot of automotive news and things we wanted to cover on the way, like we do here at Rally Radio. You know how we get down, man. There's a lot of things going on. But before we jump into anything of that nature, there's some other things we wanted to talk about that's going on. Shout out to my guy, Coach K. He's in the building early. Let's go. We doing well over here. I don't know if you've seen it. We're going to talk about it a little bit. There's a video that's circulating that's going viral, right? There's a guy, he was driving his G80 M3 four-door, right? Now, as he's driving it, you know, they do the horn honk, like, yo, we about to set it off. They honk the horn, and I mean, as soon as he drops the hammer, he just loses complete control of his car and smashes it into the median. My thing is, here we go again, and we talk about this all the time, ease of use for these cars. Right. And that's definitely something we're going to talk about a little later. We were talking about behind the scenes about how they tune the transmissions and things. They do a lot of things that I had no idea. I always thought that, you know, transmission could be built. I didn't know they was tuning them, but now that they're tuning them. What's your thoughts on the ease of use, though? Like, do you feel like these kids, like, because a lot of them are children. Let's say that they're not children, but young adults. Do you feel like it's easier to get your hands on 700-800 horsepower than it's ever been? Or like,
no, definitely.
What? Go ahead.
And the problem is they don't respect speed or horsepower.
They don't respect speed.
Everybody see a number like, yeah, I want 800. They don't know what 800 is.
They don't know what 800 is.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest problems.
See, and I feel the same way. And we talk about this all the time here. Like, there's times where, you'll say to a cat, yeah, I got 400 horsepower. They're like, that's it? And you're like, yo, do you know what 400 horsepower feels like? Like 500, you start teetering 500. It's like, that's a lot of power, especially if you don't know how to handle it. And that was another prime example that I had just saw, man. I was just like, another kid and he had both hands on the steering wheel. Mm-hmm. He just looked like he just was like in heaven right there. And the next thing you know, he spun out and lost control of it. What's your thoughts on that real quick?
Yeah. Well, like I said, the street and the track is two different things. Making, big power on the street and big power on the track is like two totally different things. You got traction, a lot more things involved,
That's a fact, man. That's a fact. Shout out to everybody who's tuned in, paying attention. And that's what I mean at the end of the day. It's always crazy like that. It's always crazy like that. When I first started like really dealing with cars, I remember you would tune your car for, and I'm talking about Hondas. That's as far as I go. You know what I mean? Sometimes like Hondas, I have never really owned a super horsepower car, but from the Hondas and things that I saw, it's like, yo, 350, 400, 450. That's like a lot of power. Mm-hmm. And you got some people that's like a basic thing. So to me, it's like, it's a lot of power, man. Mm-hmm. And now we're talking 700-800 with no problem. And we talked about this last week too. There was another video where a kid actually, he was driving his Hellcat in the rain. He went like 4 or 5 gears, lost complete control of the car. Bow, crashed right into. And I'm like, you can tell by that you don't respect it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to have a certain respect for this stuff.
No, you have to respect power. You have to respect power. And like I said, it's so easy to get power now than back then.
Right.
Now all you need is like a cell phone, and you could load in a tune, and you're picking up a 100 horsepower wheel. Not a problem.
Said load up a tune off your phone.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say the closest I've seen to that, and we talked about this a little earlier. It was at a dyno wars, like a horsepower wars. And I remember this Porsche, he called up, I believe it was Haltech. He called them up and they sent him a tune over the air. Mm-hmm. And when he started the car back up again, it just sounded a completely different animal. I was like, oh my God. Like, it was like shooting fire, spitting fireballs out there. So I'm like, oh, so whatever they sent him, they turned the boost up, they turned the power up, they turned up everything. You know what I mean? So definitely one of those kind of things, man. But with that being said, you know what I mean? It's that we looking forward to a great show. Shout out to Clarence Alexander. He's tuned in. We got everybody tuned in. Don't forget, drop a like, drop a comment so we can shout you out. And the number to call up is 516-206-0711. If you want to call up and you want to talk, here you go. You want to talk to Wayne himself, you want to ask him a couple questions, I could imagine some people going to call and ask you questions. But with that being said, we are hyped. We are in the building. We got Des the Nose Hunt in the building with us. You know what I mean?
Shout out to Jericho Turnpike for that massive good rock, man. Glad to meet you, man. Welcome, Wayne. Welcome, Dexter, man.
Dexter, what's going on? Shout to Dexter, everybody. Let's go. Let's go. We appreciate that. It's definitely going to be one heck of a show. Got a bottle of water over there for you gentlemen, just in case. But with that being said, we're going to jump right into the show, man. It's definitely ready to set it off. And you know how we get down here. With that being said, we're going right in because we have a guest. We're going to make sure that we get right into our driver's etiquette. We're going to jump right into it. Let's go.
Driver's etiquette. Because sometimes you got to get this off your chest.
All right, y'all, we are back. Here we go. This is our driver's etiquette. This is actually our interview. And let me first say before we even start, like I said, I appreciate you for taking the time out. You know what I mean? I really do. I appreciate the time to come in here and let us interview and actually talk to you. In my eyes, I've seen a lot of different people, grace the game. We've seen it. We've seen people come and go. We've seen some legends make their way and then exit. But you have been a main staple in this game as far as I can remember for a little while. You know what I mean? So with that being said, one more to really introduce you to the crowd. This is Wayne Speed, everybody. Wayne Speed, and this is Dexter as well. We all in here to talk. You know what I mean? With that being said, Wayne, where did you get your start? What was the first time you actually tinkered with a car and it was like positive and it made you want to go first?
Man, I mean, I had so many, small incidents, but
Really?
I really started out, when I was messing around with RX-7s.
Wow.
This is in the 90s, and the thing was, everybody in the RX-7s, they like to blow apex seals.
Yes.
So my whole thing was, how could I prevent apex seals from blowing?
Okay.
So I ended up getting Electromotive Tech 2, the PAV-Z software, so it had knock control.
Okay.
But in the software, knock is disabled after like 4,500 RPM.
And those
that's
go all
when
the
you
way.
need it.
Right. Well, I was about to say they go upstairs to RX-7s.
Yeah, because then I started realizing, okay, there's a lot of noise going on. It's hard to distinguish what's real knock from, false knock.
Yes.
And then, that's how I got my start into it.
Okay.
Because nobody could tune Electromotive on a rotary.
Right.
Then, all the V8 guys, they could mess with the tech, but it was on a V8 application, not a rotary. So.
Wow. So you started with the RX-7s. So was that when you did that, right? When you first started, like so it was really a problem first. And you know what they always say? They always say the mother of all engine, you know what I mean, is needed, is necessary. The how they say it? The mother of all ingenuity is a necessity.
Necessity, yeah.
Like necessity is the mother of all ingenuity. And so in other words, you had to fix something. It was a problem you was having, and you was like, yo, let me see if I can fix it. So at that point, how old were you then when you first started? How were you at that time?
Man, I was in my 20s.
You were young, man. That's crazy.
So at that point, right, once you started to figure that out, and you started to figure out like the RX-7, because that is a big deal, as a matter of fact. There's not a lot of rotary people, and especially now, that the engine is no longer being mass produced. It's like, yo, to find somebody to fix that now, it's got to be hard.
Right.
But at that point, what did that do for you then? So now you figured this big problem out.
Well, that was a game changer. That's how I got into the whole tuning cars.
Okay.
I tuning my own car. Other guys that I was friends with, they started doing the same thing too, getting a standalone and wanted me to tune their cars. And that's how it all started pretty much.
So it all pretty much started from that. That is off the hook. I actually love that. Yeah, it does.
So I mean, it's almost like chemistry, right? Like you have to have an understanding about like thermodynamics and things of that nature, right? Like that's why I say like it's a very tricky thing, right? Because you're dealing with combustion, you're dealing with air, fuel. When the air to fuel comes in, like I'm used to dealing with people, so you're dealing with cars, and any little one misstep, man, the whole place is gonna blow up.
That's it. Yeah.
The
rotary, when it blows up, it's taking out the turbo, it's taking out the inside of the engine. It's gonna be a very costly build.
Really?
Yeah.
And they act like those things are. So my thing is, what makes so in your opinion, what makes the rotary engine so good though? Then like that, because I mean, it's really finicky in my opinion.
It's finicky, but all right. So that's another thing. It's not like a regular engine, so you got to pay close attention to a lot more things.
Yes.
But once you do that, you're good. They'll last. They'll last. Don't get me wrong. They have special seals, and the whole thing, you got to keep them rich. The fuel, you need the fuel, keep them cool.
Okay, and oil, right? Too.
Yeah, no, they're oil cool. So you definitely want to have a good oil cooler, because the oil actually cools the whole inside of the motor.
Oh, that's pretty dope.
I never even looked at it like that. He said a fuel keep them rich. I hear that. So my thing is now you've done that, right? Now you've touched that part. Now you with the RX-7s. So that was your first engine you worked on. From there, what was the next move? What was the next move where you was like, yo, I really could do this? Like, you know what I mean? Like, where you was like, I could do this on my own.
Right.
Or whatever. You know what I mean?
Then I started having, like I said, I had guys start asking me to tune their cars. And, that's when I actually branched over from rotary to piston, was with the Mitsubishi 4G63.
Yes.
Shout out to the Eclipse and Evo guys up there.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, shout out to the 4G63. So, because that I'm going to tell you, that's a 4-cylinder turbo. I would say it gets its props, but I feel like Mitsubishi didn't really show it the love that they were supposed to. You know what I mean? But so now you started tuning Evos. Wow. So at that point, what's your favorite platform you would say to tune on? What do you think is the best platform that gives you the best response for the work that you put in?
Man, I love them all, man. I love them all. I'll be honest with you. You know, whether it's the 2J, the V8 Chevy stuff,
Yes.
the rotary, they all do their thing, man. They all do their
car
thing.
guy. Certified car guy. Right
And actually, Dexter, you know, he has a Mitsubishi as well.
Do you? Shout to Dexter, man. Come on, tell the people. Let them know where you from, man. Shout to Dexter. Let's go.
My name is Dexter. You know, they call me Pushwater back in the days.
Pushwater.
Pushwater Dex. That's what they used to call me.
Don't worry, they call me the nose hunter.
Yeah, actually, back in the days, we didn't have the technology. They have the, you know, the software for the upgrades.
Yeah.
So we had to figure this stuff out just by going by the flow, trying different things, doing different things.
Yes.
We had to figure it out.
Yes.
And, me and my friend, his name is Roel. We were into the Mazda MX-6 back in the day.
Oh, that car's fire. Like,
Not a lot of people know about the Mazda MX-6. And there's like an airflow meter that you could adjust.
with a screwdriver.
Spring.
Drill a hole in it. I did it with the 7M.
So we used to do all of that. So me and my buddy used to tweak the car, you know, have the car running good, decent. And then actually, I think that's how we met Wayne. Well, we met Wayne around that time. I knew about him. He was into the rotaries and stuff like that. But I think he was with Ricky tuning the Mitsubishi clips. The 1G.
Over there in Long Island, yeah.
He's tuning the 1G on one side, and me and my boy Ro tuning with the screwdriver.
That's very old school.
Very old school.
Because I know what you're talking about. You drill a hole, you clear it on the math, and then you take a screwdriver and pull the bolt up. A lot of guys blew up like that back in the day, though.
We have been through a lot of it, you know. Then me and it was talking, was like, you know what, maybe we should check Wayne. Have Wayne check the stuff out. But I was, I still had the Mazda MX-6, but then I switched over and I went to Mitsubishi Eclipse. And since then, I got in contact with Wayne, and then I started going fast.
So if that's the case right now, we talking, y'all said this is like what, the 90s? Let's say this
90s, early 2000s.
Early 2000s.
Yeah.
So at that time, they had so many, I remember they didn't have a lot of stuff, or at least that I was familiar with, that was standalone. I know it was like maybe 1 a.m. I think they had just came out.
Super AFC, yeah.
So, right, because you had piggybacks. You had the Gretty,
GCC,
E-Manage, Power FC. You know what I'm saying? And those are the things that I remember. So at that time, were y'all using those things, and y'all didn't have a dyno at that time, right? So we taking it to the street and we checking out the response. What was y'all doing at that time?
Yeah, so back then, like you said, a lot of things weren't accessible, even like wide bands.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody had like some cheap K&N 0 to 1 volt sensor. But they did have like Hariba and Motec back then. It was like, most guys aren't going to put that in their car. That was like a lot of bread back then.
European guys were doing it. Yeah.
And then, there was access to dynos, but it was very limited.
And it was expensive.
Yeah.
Muscle car guys you got to go to.
But the whole game from back then to now is totally different. Totally different.
Actually, I don't know what you're talking about. When we had we called it back in the days the butt dyno. So once
sit down,
sit down. Once you feel that pull, once you see somebody grab, we used to call it the old shit handle.
Yeah. You knew you was getting somewhere.
And I just want to chime into Wayne. A lot of people don't know this. You actually helped tune my Cressida. And what's so funny? I said how you're a genius in the car community, right? Everybody wants to talk about conservative tunes, all that. No, you just don't want to blow up. What's the point trying to squeeze every bit of horsepower? You retarding timing and excuse me, that's we can't say we're talking de-advancing and advancing timing.
Okay.
Right? So we can't use the word. So I brought the Super AFC and I didn't have that much money back then. And I was like, I want to tune it. I had like the whole set on it, HX55 on the 1J.
Right.
And you tuned it, and he was like, at the end I saw these squiggly lines. And he was like, listen, you know exactly what to get. He's like, get rid of these coils. You know what I did? I went to Arch. I got me Chrysler 300M coils, put on a 1J. Man, that car picked up like a bat out of hell. Like I'm talking about, it felt like just with your tune and just changing that one thing. 60, 70 horsepower. I'm spinning in third gear and on the Cressida.
Wow.
I remember that Cressida.
Yeah.
By TNR, I remember.
Yeah.
TNR.
Well, no, not by TNR. Ron built that car.
No, I'm saying with the dyno.
The dyno at TNR. Yeah, on Liberty. Yeah.
That is actually so now, right? What's the one thing, right? And I always wanted to know this too, because I remember when they say you're gonna take your car to get tuned, everything got to be right. So what do you say as far as what has to be done to your car to get a great tune? Like obviously we're not talking check engine light or nothing like that, but if the myth to me was showing up with a hole in your exhaust or something like that. if you got a hole in your exhaust, then no, we can't tune it. Is that true? Like, is that how it works?
No, it's lots of it's critical. Art. If you have a hole before the O2 sensor, you could have all kinds of stuff going on. You could have the air fluctuating in and out. Depends on what RPM.
Right.
That's going to throw the reading off.
Oh.
So when you're tuning, you want to know the exact air fuel ratio. That'll throw the tuning off. But as far as a good dyno tune,
right,
you got to do regular stuff. Like you'd be surprised guys don't do certain things. Like check your oil, make sure you got coolant in your car.
That's
what I'm saying.
Crazy.
That is
you got to make
hilarious.
sure that your differential has fluid. The whole drivetrain is set up properly. Plugs are gapped. The whole.
Have a differential explode on a dyno is crazy.
So my thing is, right? what's a lot of people fail to realize how important tuning is, right? I feel like because you got guys that just put parts on and just start driving. They cause a motorcycle start backfiring and they think that's cool. They're like, oh nah, this is great. I'm like, did you get it tuned? Case in point, I remember I ran into a guy. He had a turbo Hayabusa. He slapped a T25 turbo on a Hayabusa on a motorcycle. And he's like, I said, did you tune it? Like, did you did you hook up anything? He said, nah, it's good. It just sometimes it spikes and it makes really. And I'm like, that's not safe, bro. You know what I'm saying? So how many people don't do what they need to do? We're gonna take this call. Rally Radio, who we got in the box?
You know what it is, you know who it is.
Shout to Draco. Draco's in the building. What's going on, my brother?
Shout to Draco.
Yes, later on. We outside. So what's going on? We got Wayne Speed in the building. Draco's building. What you building, Draco? Let him know. Nice. Okay.
No, definitely. Because those signals they're very small. So once you tap into it and you load that signal, it's gonna wreak havoc. No problem.
That was an easy one. Listen,
Jeezy.
you know how we say, look, you know how they say on a 1-900 hustler, we like, listen, just leave the check at the door. That's what we need.
This simple like engine.
Shout out to the Jay-Z. I just can't afford one anymore.
$7 to 10 years.
That's when the price is actually reasonable. Wow.
Oh, that was me. I'm sorry, y'all.
Ooh, that's the glass transmission right there too. You gotta like go in the boost and then let off the gas and then slide into the gear. Pause. You know, it's you know what's funny, the W58 transmission, right? You know, you have to really know what you're looking at, because I say two different things. When I had a W58, I shattered third gear, and then I went R154. The weight between both transmissions is definitely like night and day. Like I could pick up a W58 and put it on my shoulder with one arm.
So, hey Draco, listen, we're gonna have you call us back because we're saying you can't hear. They can't hear you on the phones. We're gonna have you call us back. We got some other things going on, but call us back. We settle this problem right here. All right. All right, Draco. Later. All right. Shout out to everybody who's tuned in, paying attention. We apologize for having any little audio issues with the phone. Shout out to my guy Sarge, aka Niles Hen. He said Wayne is an OG. He said he built the first bike I ever rode. Had no brakes though. We was kids.
That's crazy.
But now we in the building. So I apologize for that. It looks like we having a little issue with the phone or whatever. So we'll get back to that. But in the meantime, we'll just get back to the interview. So now, what's the system in your opinion that's the easiest platform to tune with? Like obviously, you know, there's so many different ones. You know what I mean? We got Honda, you know, all different ones. And I remember Jim Wolf was a big deal.
The Nissan guys.
Right, Nissan guys, a big deal. I remember my homeboy, shout out to my guy Rich, he loved his SR20 DET Nissan SCR. And they used to always say Jim Wolf. And I was like, I'm a Honda guy. Like Honda, that's it, that's no mistake. You know what I mean? So what's your most favorite platform if that you tune
on? I mean, standalone wise, I prefer like Haltech.
Okay.
For ECU.
But like I said, you know, with new technology now, like I said, everybody's using their phones. You know, like the BMWs. There's just stuff you just download and flash.
Like Hilton.
And it's easy horsepower.
So
yeah.
But the thing is with the download and the flash, it's not one size fits all.
Pretty much.
So it's like they let you because even Honda has that too, like where you could, okay, you have this intake, this downpipe, this exhaust, and here's your tune. Right. And it's like I don't like that personally.
That's like what Hilton.
So now they have what they call a custom tune.
Okay.
So all those apps, like you're saying, you know, whether it's Honda, you know, K-Tuner, you know, for the Honda stuff. But even with the BMW, you have MHD, you have boot mod, and then you have the ability now to do a custom tune on all those platforms.
Okay.
You know, so you have the option of just like loading a base map or doing a custom tune, especially if you have like mods that's not really normal. You know, like a turbo that's not really, you know, something crazy.
It's a little sketchy.
Like a big turbo or something like that.
Don't you think it's a little sketchy, right? Like you also dyno my Volvo, right? The problem with the Volvo is that you have to, like, what company called Hilton. So you send them the VIN number, you say what turbo you had. Like I had an upgraded K24 turbo, right, with an 8-blade billet wheel. So you tell them like, hey, I got this turbo. This is the turbo and the wheel, everything, and they send you the tune. But sometimes it doesn't really, because you can't dyno tune the car. Like you got to go to dyno. Okay, it's breaking up. Then I blow the motor because guys have blown plenty of 5 cylinders up that way, and then you take it back, and then you got to go get another engine, and then you know it's just crazy.
Shout out to my guy Dorian. Shout out to my guy. He tuned in. He said, "Listen," he said he's not a car guy, but do you also tune trucks? I think I could go out on the limb and say, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like you tune trucks too.
If it's gas, you know, so far. I don't mess with the diesel stuff yet, but that's another thing to look into. Diesel stuff.
See. Yeah. I think his is gasoline, it's not diesel. But I know they're giving tuners a big problem with the diesels now, right?
No, with gas too.
Yeah.
With everything pretty much.
Really?
Yep.
So you want to build on that a little bit? Like what's some of the things that the obstacles that they try to like put in your way? And to me, it's hurting business.
No, it definitely is.
It hurts business. It's not like we pass, you know, they doing the X, Y, and Z for the planet where they have cruise boats that make more exhaust fumes than we could ever think of. They have buildings that make more exhaust than we could ever think of. But yet they want to come after the person with the normal car, or you can't build one race car, something like that. So elaborate on that a little bit. What's some of the things you've seen that's like, wow, this is crazy?
All right. So pretty much if it's a street car, you got to try to keep it street legal.
Okay.
You know, versus where we'll have our race cars when, you know, we don't need a cat, we don't need none of that. You know, it's not about emissions. it's for the track.
Right.
You know, so I do everything. I try to keep everything, you know, street legal, as well as we have our track cars. So, you know.
So a couple people label you as a conservative tuner. Not the first time I've heard it.
The first politics in the car community, which is crazy.
No, but I'll tell you, I treat people car like my own.
Mm.
If I'm tuning your car and I don't see something right, I'm gonna stop. We're gonna pause and look over stuff and see what it is. Some dudes just blow it up, and you know, oh well, it's not really, you know, you can't really say, yo, I need my money back, or I gotta, you know, it is what it is. So, like I said, if I'm treating people cars like my own, we're gonna stop.
We're gonna stop.
Because I see something going on, and sometimes I don't have man, I wish I had videos some of the times. I had customers actually video the fuel pressure regulator, you know, the gauge, and you see their fuel pressure dropping, just so they see for themselves. Listen, you got to grade your fuel system. It's one thing you do in the air with the bigger turbo, but you need a fuel for that air. You got to match it.
Wow.
You know, so if you're tripling the output of your engine, you got to triple the fuel supply or even more just to keep up with what you're doing.
So it's interesting you said that too, because I seen also you was like, yo, check your injectors. I seen you had the injector check. So you got people that come in there with stuff like that, like bad injectors?
That's why I bought an injector machine.
Or small injectors.
Yeah, well, sometimes you'll pull the plugs out, and the way you can tell when the injector's bad usually.
Wow.
Some is black, some is white. Like,
Yeah,
you know, they got to be all one color, you know.
And it's funny that you say that. You know, that's just called integrity. And I hate to say, in the car community, a lot of people lack integrity. You know what I'm saying? Just like we talked about earlier, advancing timing or retarding timing and doing things like that. Like even with the Volvo, you was looking at coolant in my car, everything. You was looking at the whole Volvo, and I didn't even come there for a tune. I just came here for a dyno run. And you know, but that goes far because like if you blow a new engine, first thing they're gonna do is blame you. Like, well, I didn't know my rings was bad. You know what I'm saying? And it's your fault. You know what I'm saying? Or you don't know, they came in, they got a burble tune on the car, and then fuel and oil's mixing, and they spin a bearing on the dyno. But they didn't tell you that though. You know, so yeah, you're absolutely right.
So if that's the case, so the mistakes that people make when they're getting their cars tuned is just maintenance.
Yeah, the main thing is maintenance. Like Devil said with the burble tune, okay, so now you have like raw gas getting dumped into the motor. That's how you create the burbles.
Yeah.
You know, and so I mean, you could do that, but the thing
Wait,
is,
say it again, please, so everybody can catch that. Because I'm telling cats, I say it all the time. Yo, every time you hear it, unless it's not doing it not on purpose like that, they're doing it in low RPM. So that's telling me that you dumping a whole bunch of fuel. But say that again,
right, so,
please.
So you dump in raw gas, and the thing is, the raw gas will go past the rings. But the thing is, once you keep your engine like at operating temperature, then it'll burn the gases off. So that's bad for somebody that's just like drive from here to here, and you know you're not warming that engine up because the vapors are gonna build up into the oil and thin it.
Yeah.
Oh,
and that's why these Q50 guys, they always spin bearings in those cars because they, you know, that was the thing about it. If you want your car to pop, right? Like even me, like the Volvo used to, you shift at 2,500 RPM, a flame will come out the back because it had an open exhaust, it had open down at a down pipe with a straight pipe. It's just compression, right? But if the burble tune is crazy. Anybody has ever came up to you and like asked if you did burble tunes?
Some guys all they want is a burble tune. They don't even want it.
they don't even want the power.
They don't care about the power. They just want the noise. You know?
So if that's the case, right? Do you warn them then? Like, yo, look, this is what a burble tune is. A burble tune is pretty much we soaking your.
No. I tell them advantages, disadvantages with it, because for one, it's not good for the kind of converter. It's not good for a lot of stuff. So, you know, I let them know in advance.
Yeah, keep that in mind. If somebody try to sell you a car with a burble tune, it's a good chance it's messed up. You know what I'm saying?
That was a pandemic tune.
I don't know why people want to do stuff like that. And then I believe that led to the exhaust issue that we having now in New York City. I believe that they was going to try it anyway. I remember they tried it with motorcycles. When I first bought my motorcycle, they was like, oh, we're going to put exhaust cameras up and we're going to charge you for a sticker. You was going to have an EPA sticker on your motorcycle to say you can have that exhaust. That was in 2008. And Cuomo has shut that down. Now we to the point we got exhaust cameras and stuff like that. So with that being said, right, what platform to you makes the most gains with minimal tuning? When I say that, I mean like what cars like that makes the most gains to you with minimal tuning? It's like you ain't really got to do much.
I mean, honestly, the BMW.
Ooh.
The BMW, the new Supras, all that stuff. Minimum. I'm talking about, like you said, downpipe, you know, and you know, just a tune.
A phone tune.
Wow.
That's it.
Yeah, like
They call it satellite tune.
Satellite tune. So that would be the B58.
Mhm.
So
All in one. N54, like almost any turbo car from BMW.
is making it happen like
four
that.
cylinder, everything. Even
Yep, Force B40, everything.
Yeah.
So that's why they run in the streets the way they are.
Yeah.
but can't drive.
Right.
No, not
That's
one
a
of them.
whole nother ball game.
Well, the good thing is that BMW handles really good, and I think that's what's kind of offsetting a little thing. But then again, we go back to what we're talking about with the experience.
Yes.
A lot of these young cats, they want this. They're gonna max out whatever satellite tune they get in,
Right.
and they can't drive. Luckily these cars can stop and they can handle.
Right.
That's preventing a lot of carnage.
Right. Right. But even then, we see some of them lose it. Like we've seen,
Macked, right?
we've seen some cars with, and not for nothing. Like I was just telling them the other week, I had a situation where I went to the crash lot with my homeboy. He was looking to buy a car, and we in there. It's nothing but BMWs in there. Like I mean, nothing but smacked up BMWs. It's like, yo, these kids are leasing these cars, smacking them up, getting rid of it, and then getting another one. I'm like, yo, they just ruining these legends. You know what I mean? Like they just ruining them. You know what I'm saying? So who we got next to you over here, Wayne? Who's this over here? Let's go.
It's my son Christian.
Let's go, Christian. Step up to the mic, man. What's going on, man? Tell the people who you are, where you from.
I'm Christian. I'm from Queens, New York. Wingspeed, my pop's best tuner, best dad out here. He's making it happen. Highest horsepower numbers in the world. Every time he's breaking records, got #1 cars on the track, winning Honda days, doing a whole bunch of everything. BMWs to Supras, everything.
So Pops is passing the torch, right?
Yeah.
He's passing the torch. That's actually a good thing. We don't get a lot of that. So what's your favorite platform right now?
I mean, honestly, I wouldn't say I had got my car in around like 2017, 2018. I started off with the BMW 335.
Okay.
At the time, it wasn't too hot. One stock wasn't really popping off yet with the 340s. So
Right.
My dad got the 335. I want to be just like my dad. So I'm taking the opportunity. He was like, yo, son, I know you've been wanting the 335. So we went out to go look, got that. As soon as I got it, felt like the fastest car. Got the dream spec, got the black with the red interior.
Oh,
N55 or N54?
N54, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So I got that. I was feeling crazy. I got it. It was put it on the dyno, made it around like 280. That was the stock. I'm thinking it's making something crazy because that's my first car.
Right.
So he really showed me what I could do. Put it on the dyno, he did his work, made a little 500.
500
for my first car. So it was insane. I got spoiled with that.
See,
And that's
now,
what showed me the BMWs is definitely started to take over the game.
wow.
We gotta respect his maturity because you know what my first car was?
Go
A
ahead.
96 Maxima with an open air intake from off of eBay.
I
thought I was
one
the
better.
fastest person.
Those
in
run
the
too? They run too?
I got one better. I had a 1988 Honda CRX with a V16 swap. You
Nice.
couldn't tell me. I was like, yo, I'm talking about an intake, headers, and exhaust.
Those run too?
They run hard. You know what I'm saying?
They run too.
But I will say, right? I will say now that so when you step into that game, you step to that 500, and that does speak to your character.
Definitely.
Because
Yeah.
once a lot like me, I can only imagine 500. I might have been like,
I'm getting arrested. I'm getting arrested.
but the fact that he was actually able to control it and actually, control a very responsible young man, by the way.
Thank you.
So now you said 500 horsepower now. So now you like, so let's be honest here. I know Dad is here. We could keep it sane, right?
Yeah.
What was that one time you was like, I ain't gonna do that no more? What was that one
Alright,
time
bro.
you was like, whoa, this thing really is powerful?
Yeah, I was on the highway and I really wanted to test the car because it's the first car. I'm like, yo, I got 500 horsepower, got my turbos, got everything done, got the sauce. So I'm like, I got to take it out for a test. So I ended up doing a whole dash on the car, 160, you feel me? And I'm like,
Dad is
whoa.
like,
Yeah, I had to tell him, like, I just recently told him about that. Yeah, I couldn't let him know about that.
but
But
that was the first
that
time.
let me know, like, yo, this is really something fast. Like, this is dangerous. I started paying attention a lot more to cars. 'Cause even when people come into the dyno, I let them know, like, yo, I know you want to have fun and stuff, but you got to be safe because, it's going that fast. And especially a lot of these younger cats, they're getting a lot of this money now.
Yeah.
They want to drive something fast. They see everybody in something fast, but they never had the experience. They didn't start here and go here. They just, 0 to 800 horsepower right here. They never drove that. That's why it's very hard. That's why you see a lot of these kids crashing. They don't have the experience.
See, I'm gonna tell you a story.
Mm-hmm.
You had a fast car, okay?
Yeah.
I was 18 years old. I got arrested on the Southern State for doing 140 in the Camry back then. Remember the 2GR FE?
Yeah.
I blew past a K9 car, almost wiped, saved it. Car fishtail. I took a break coming down, exit 17. That was the first time somebody in law enforcement pulled a gun out on me and was like, yo, I called my mother. I said, yo, mom, I'm going to jail. Put the phone down. I respect your maturity. And that was just a 280 horsepower Camry with soft suspension, LE, not even an SE. So 500 horsepower at that age, you were your late teens?
I want to say 18, 19, yeah.
Okay. I was 18. Okay. That was my wake-up call. Your wake-up call was just correcting your actions. My wake-up call was seeing people coming out with 2 cheese sandwiches and a warm milk and coming down from the court. So,
but I definitely
respect it.
I will say though, right? You've been around cars since you was a kid.
Yes.
See, that's another thing, and that's why you gain you've seen them. So it's not even nothing with you like, okay, I know this is dangerous. You've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen a lot.
And I feel like a lot of kids don't get into that. On the side note, Wayne, we got Michael Hugh. He said Wayne Speed back in the days, Wolf tuner, tuned my RX-7 Turbo 2. Yep. Turbo 2. He was a rotary tuner there. Shout to Michael Hugh. He just wanted to let you know that. And shout to my guy Kirk. He said, ask away on how much you charge to do a dyno run. He said, ask Wayne how much you charge to do a dyno. That's my man Kirk. Kirk from son.
It depends on which car. If it's two-wheel drive, $100, all-wheel 150.
Okay.
Very
hold on. You have to say them prices in the camera because they like. Say that one more time. You said.
Yeah. Now, so if it's two-wheel drive, front or rear wheel, $100, and if it's all-wheel, 150.
So it's $100 an hour?
No, like usually there's one part they're making, so they have up to 3 pulls.
Okay. Okay. And then when we get that's a dyno run, but now when we get into tuning, I don't want to get too deep into it, but like when it comes down to like tuning Hondas, like did you got into the tuning of the Hondas a little bit? What would to you what was a better platform with that? Did you feel like that responded with a standalone better than it did with the Honda? Because I always felt like the Honda don't get the props that they deserve.
No, Honda is serious. Shout out to my boy Angel Motors. Back in the days, man, I don't know what year that was, but we was making like 600 with the B16. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, and that was a Honda.
Wow.
So remember, that's still a stock computer with a little board on there, something like that.
And that's that's still fast. We're talking about power, right? We had a conversation the other day about guys now, because of the internet, they are now saying, you say you had a car 500 horsepower to wheels. That's a very fast car. For more than anything you could buy from factory. Most cars, like 95% of cars you buy from factory, right?
Right.
What do you guys think about today when people say, oh, because they watch Texas 2K, oh, 600 horsepower is slow, 700 horsepower is nothing, 800 horsepower is nothing. You need 1,700 horsepower. You need 2,000 horsepower, 1,300 horsepower. What do you say to those guys? You guys have an experience you guys have.
I mean, listen, until you drive a car that's making 800 on the street, you start to realize, listen, there's a limit to what you can put down on the street.
Right.
And hence, that's why a lot of guys go all-wheel drive. And that's another reason why these BMWs are so fast.
Because now they're
all-wheel drive, twin turbo, and they'll put out 600, 700, 800, and they kind of putting it down. But for the regular guys that want 800, rear wheel drive, I mean that's like you asking for trouble.
You asking for trouble. So now when you see these charges, when you see these challenges, Hellcats, Red Eyes, what's your thoughts on them coming from the dealer with 800, 797? Like I feel like they dumbed the car down a little bit, but I feel like a lot of these kids really don't understand how dangerous that could get.
But they weigh as much as a school bus. So
no, here's the difference. So usually when you see like let's say the track walk, you come with X amount of horsepower.
Yes.
But usually if I dyno a stock track hawk, it's making like 586. So the thing is, some cars will advertise 800 horsepower, but on a dyno, something totally different.
Yeah.
These guys want to dyno 800. So like for Evo, if I'm dynoing 800, you making over 1,000 plus at the motor.
Yeah.
Right. Because you lose about what, 15, 20%, sometimes
30%. 20 plus, because usually it's like 10 to 15, like usually 10% front wheel drive, 15 rear.
Mm-hmm.
If it's all-wheel drive, 25% in that area. And automatic is a little worse sometimes, so it depends.
Uh-huh.
You know? So the worst one is going to be an automatic all-wheel drive. You're going to lose the most power there.
You're gonna lose the most power there.
Yeah.
And when you come up the dyno, that car is gonna move like a bat of hell. When you down up my Cressida, it was breaking up and it was still spiking like 382. And I put the injectors in, I'm over 400. That car was fifth gear, clear fifth gear, and it went straight. Like, you know, it's faster than what people like. A lot of these new cars, they weigh a lot. Back in the day, you talking about 500 horsepower EK was ridiculous.
Yeah, because you're talking about it weigh how much? 2,300 pounds. They ripping the interior out. They're like, yeah, okay, let's go.
Sound detonator.
Come on, they wilding, and now they all wheel. Now, just when you thought it was safe, they all wheel driving a EK.
Now I can't get a Honda Passport or a CRV no more.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious. So at the end of the day, do you have any projects you're working on right now? Do you have anything like in under the sheet, like anything in the garage hidden that you want to tell us about?
It's funny you said, because I said this year I want to bring back out my BMW, which was built like in 2010.
Okay.
It's a Chevy motor. You know, it's a 6.6 stroke motor, 4-inch bore, 4-inch stroke.
Wait. BMW.
Yeah, it's an E46.
Oh.
Yeah, with a Chevy engine in there. And
that's
turbocharged. And I said I want to bring it back out. You know, it's been sitting for a minute. You know, I'm caught up, you know, doing the family things, and I'm like, I need to take my toy back out. You know,
that's unique, man. Because you know
that is unique.
Because in the car, you know, I feel like now the car community has gotten to a point where everybody drives the same 5 cars.
Right.
It's Nissan, it's BMW, it's Chevy, it's Dodge,
right,
or it's Ford, right? That having a small, a big block V8 inside E36, like I wanted, you know, it's so funny. We were just talking about I wanted to do the E36 with the T5 Volvo swap. I saw it from guys in Europe doing it. You know, I think I'm gonna be talking to you in the future. That mega squirt.
So, with that being said, right now it's a BMW with a Chevy engine, like a LS V8 engine in it. Wow. What's the timetable? Summertime, or like
it's pretty much done already. I just got to paint it. I have some minor stuff to do to it, like I had to put some chrome mounted push rods in there. I bent some push rods. I had like a heavy duty cam in there and all that. But
wow,
I feel a couple months. You know, a couple months I'll be back out with it. You know,
that's actually interesting. And what's the numbers? Respectfully, what's the conservative numbers we talking?
No, well, I mean, I built the motor to take 1,000 horsepower.
Oh my
God. I don't need all that much. You know, like I find most cars for the street. If you have 600, that's more than enough. Trust me.
You think about people don't realize 600 horsepower on a car that weighs 3,100 pounds. You're going to do 170, 180 miles per hour on one straight, one exit. Like you're on 495, you're going from exit 50 to 49, you're going to top out.
Right. That is definitely in my opinion. Like, so I've seen also there was another thing I wanted to ask you. You had a Nissan Maxima. I want to say it was like a 96. 99, that body, burgundy,
the 190,
and I mean, you had it on the dyno. It was top exit exhaust, flame shooting out of it, and I'm just like, yo, how? So, in order for you to be a great tuner, obviously you need to know about engines. But what is it that you expect that your tuner should know when you bring your car to the dyno? What is, like, if I'm a guy and I'm coming to somebody that tunes, what should they know? What should I like? You know what? They know that I could put my car in their hands. What's that one thing?
Well, I mean, with that particular car, the owner is Desmond. Shout out to Desmond.
Shout out to Desmond. Let's go. His name is Desmond.
I'm nose hunter right
here. Yeah, so he's been me every step of the way. So I've kind of guided him with everything pretty much.
Yes.
So, I mean, if you listen to your tuner, you're gonna be good. Always listen to your tune. If the tuner say uses ECU is a reason why he's telling you, whether he's more familiar or he knows something that he may want to tell you directly, just listen to what he tells you. You know.
And a lot of guys, and from what I understand, a lot of guys have trouble listening to their tuners.
So when my I'm not gonna mention his name, but one of my boys had a Hyundai product and fully built 4-cylinder, and he decided to power out the breaking up point of the motor. You know, when it starts breaking up. So he said, okay, well, I'm gonna take more power and I'm gonna power through and straighten itself out. Well, the motor straightened itself out permanently.
That's usually the case. Listen, if I'm tuning the car and it's breaking up, I'm not gonna go through it. I gotta stop, backtrack. Why did it break up? Is it too rich? Is it a plug gap? Something got to be off for it to break up. Break up is never good. It's never good.
So now, with that being said, we talked about this when we first got here. We was talking about it. Transmissions. Now, I didn't know, and you had actually put me on when we were sitting here, that people are they tune their transmissions now as well. Explain that a little bit, like what we was talking about earlier. Like,
So, for example, like my car, it's a 335. It's not designed to be a sports car.
Right.
It's just a regular car, comfort, luxury type thing. But like I was saying with a transmission, you could change the shift points,
right,
the shift time, and as well as the shift pressure on the clutches.
Yep.
Wow. So that it makes a car like the car shift like a bike right now.
You're making an automatic transmission shift like a DCT. That was what Uncle did with his G8, and it shifts as fast as a DCT. Even my Genesis, they got transmission tunes for the G80 Genesis, and I'm looking at it. I don't need a turbo. I need a proper gear ratio and a good rear end in the car. Makes the car perform totally different gear ratios.
And that's what I found interesting about it. I was like, so on top of people doing tunes of trying to get to 600-700 horsepower, they're tuning their transmissions to engage faster. Now it makes sense why a lot of these manual cars are like being pushed to the side. It's like, you know what? It is faster. Even though I feel like the driving experience is a little bit better, or a little bit better, more greater in a manual car. But
more fun.
Yeah. So with that being said, always running, you said 3 times the fuel. So let's say, for instance, I have a 2019 Civic Type R, right? And I want to change the turbo. I want to go to a slightly bigger turbo, right? My best, because I have direct injection. Is this still my best bet to go bigger injectors?
No, you can't go. I mean, BMWs come direct injection. So what they have now, they have the port injection. So once you max out the direct injectors, which is built like into the head, now you could add the port, which is on the intake port. So you could add another 4 set of injectors that could supply as much more horsepower as you need.
It's spraying a lot of fuel in there. Like my injectors just went and I changed them. Yeah, you can. Yeah.
So that's not a problem. Like I said, BMWs they have that all for the BMWs. That's why
they can make 1,200 horsepower with it.
Wow. Wow. So here's another question: How many cars on the dyno where you was like, like, you know what I mean? Like, and has a car ever blown up on your dyno?
No, you have a few blowups. Like some just like one car I had was an aluminum rod engine.
Okay.
Now, what other guys understand, with an aluminum rod engine, you're supposed to actually like log, how much times you ran it. This guy, this was like his daily driver that he had for like a couple of years, going to the track.
Okay.
Racing home.
Yeah, so he's being on the street, something like that. One pole, and that was it.
Damn.
But it definitely went over his service life.
So it was like 200,000-300,000 miles type deal. It was up.
Yeah, no, it was definitely over the service life. But usually when I'm tuning, I'm usually like very safe with a lot of stuff. Like I don't really have blowups like that. That's like that's very rare.
I think you tuned my uncle's Maxima at TNR. James with the Quaif LSD.
Yeah.
And the it was a silver 2000. I think you tuned it at TNR. I'm not sure I think you definitely did. And you talking about aluminum motor. That VQ30, man, that is closed deck and it never blew up. I'm
talking about aluminum rods.
The
rod is aluminum.
Right.
Oh yeah, most of them are not. Most of them steel.
Right.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite part of tuning though? Because obviously you've been doing this so long.
Let me tell you, it's very gratifying. Like if you want to do something and get a response, tune it. Cars coming running like shit. And you make it beautiful. I mean, you can't get no more gratifying than that.
Right. When you see people smiling from ear to ear,
that's really what
I love
it
my
is.
job.
Smiling.
So same for you too. So I guess that's the same thing for you. You love it too.
Because when you get the tune, especially me, because he told me with the BMW, so I do my own BMW tunes here and there. Especially like the feedback from the customers when you tune their car, because you see everybody right now with the BMWs, they focus on the 340s, the Supras, the B58, S58.
Right.
Me, I'm like, I got to do something different. So I was like, let me branch out to one of my friends. He had the 330, the G series. So it's the newer 330. I had that tuned. I got that done for him, put him on a couple maps. And he texts me every day like, yo, bro, The car is amazing. I love the purchase. At first, I didn't know because I see all these other BMWs going crazy fast.
Yeah.
As soon as I got him on his tune, he didn't even believe because he didn't know what the tune could really do to a car because he'd never seen a car stock, then get the tune and then see the difference. Now that he did that, it's like a whole nother world for him. He smiles every day. He's always sending me photos of the car. And I like to see people, I like to make people happy with what they do with their purchases. And it makes me feel good to make other people feel good.
Yeah.
And you're very young, right? And being a young tuner, right? And you know, BMW now is a car to have, right? Everybody, now you can buy parts on the firm, you can do different things.
Anywhere.
How many, now, I know you probably had plenty of guys pull up to you because you're young with a shiesty mask on, pulling up in a 530 or whatever. I mean, what's the turbo one? 540, 550,
540,
550, 535s, and they pull up and they be like, yo, son, make my car fast.
Definitely.
And then it's like, all right, well, how much, you got to pay me.
Yeah.
And then you see, and then you look under the hood. Have you ever opened the hood and you see that whole coolant bottle just empty?
Definitely. Coolant bottles empty, people's charge pipes disconnected, not getting any boost. They wondering why they're not getting any boost. I'm like, did you look at it's certain things that you should look at before you even come to the dyno?
Right.
But some people just don't know. They're not really mechanics, so they come to the dyno trying to diagnose the car and see what's wrong. But after a while, you feel me? When you come to the dyno, you get used to the car, you see what's going on. It's just a nice environment for the people that don't know too much about their cars.
See, and that's my thing too. I feel like it speaks to your level of enthusiast. You know what I mean? Like, you may not be a mechanic, but you should have an understanding. Like, okay, listen, I may not know every nook and cranny of my Type R. I know enough. You know what I mean? Like, I may not know everything. I may not know how to fix everything, but you kind of got to have an idea.
You got to know when your coolant's low, you know something like that.
And I feel like a lot of these younger guys don't have that.
Like me, right? Like my Genesis was breaking up, and I started doing homework, and I was like, oh, okay. It might be the injectors that have a problem in the 3.8.
Yes.
And I had nothing but carbon built up on them. The whole, and when you got all that carbon, those injectors are pretty much cooked. You might as well just go get a whole nother set. And but a lot of guys don't even know what spark plugs do. You know, they'll be like, yo, what's wrong with the car? When they could have just took a socket and be like, yo, all right, let me go change those 6, especially in a 4-cylinder.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So now, with that being said, we obviously see the electric car movement. We were talking about this a little minute.
I'm sorry, I'm nauseous. Excuse
me. we all feel that way. Trust me. But as far as y'all growing in the business, we already know this is kind of where it's going. What's your thoughts on that? First off, Wayne, electric cars.
I mean, like I've seen them have some serious potential, performance-wise.
Right.
I see a lot of benefits to them, as well as a lot of drawbacks. Something simple as like the battery life.
Yeah.
Or what does it really take to manufacture that battery?
Right.
So when they're on this hype about emissions, we got to go this route. There's a lot of drawbacks to it that a lot of people are not talking about.
We are here at Rally Radio. We are. Trust me when I tell you.
But performance-wise, they run. The torque is crazy. The Teslas, I mean, you see how they move out.
Right.
Right. So the performance is there, but some enthusiasts may not like it because the sound.
It's a vacuum cleaner.
There's none.
It's a vacuum cleaner.
So it's like it depends, man. We're getting older. We have a newer generation of people coming in.
Yes.
Where they may not want the sound. I don't know.
That's true.
But what's funny that you say that, like they don't like the sound, but it kind of hurts tuning shops because what can you really do besides swap the battery and maybe upload something from a laptop for a Tesla to like basically make the computer dump more electricity,
right,
to make it faster.
Well, I've actually heard where some of these electric cars actually have some kind of speaker that puts out like some kind of exhaust
to mimic it. Yeah.
So you have the Dodge, the Dodge Charger EV has what they call a Fratsonic exhaust, right? Speaker with a hollow chamber under the car. It's actually louder than a regular exhaust, and people actually opt to turn it off. But there's been a lot of like over social media and over YouTube for the past couple weeks because Dodge couldn't really sell his car. You have a lot of Mopar enthusiasts like pushing it on the people. In my opinion, I feel like they was Mopar people. They was against going electric, but now that Dodge is having problems, what's the first thing they're going to do? They're going to reach out to all of their people on social media who they know sell their cars, and they say, you know what? Yo, tell them that this, tell them that. Here, we'll give you. What's your thoughts on that as far as like being true to yourself as far as being Wayne Speed? Because obviously your name means everything. What does that tell you as far as like, you know what, I got to be true to me. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's testament from where you come from, especially from the comments that we get. What does that mean to you when people say, yo, Wayne Speed is it?
I mean, I find myself to be different than a lot of people. I'm very honest with a lot of things. So with the customers, I'm going to tell them what they probably don't want to hear. I don't butter stuff up for my customers. You know, I mean, I keep
Facts.
100. It is what it is.
It is what it is. And people respect you for that. They respect you for that because you're saving them at the same time. You're saving them.
You're only hurting them if you don't tell them what's really going on with the car.
People have egos, right? Like me, when you dyno my Volvo, I made 245 all wheel.
I
was happy. I was like, yo, you know what? This car's got an intercooler, upgrade turbo, no tune. Yeah, I was happy with it. You know what it is? People feel their car is so fast and they get disappointed when you dyno the car and you're tuning the car. And they be like, nah, son, 205. Nah, can't be.
Well, usually before I even tune a car, I already tell them what to expect. You know, I could tell like some guys, they may just come for even like a horsepower pull.
Right.
I'll ask them to sit up to the, I could tell them like, yo, you're not gonna make that. They'll see for themselves.
But I mean, ultimately, see, my thing is, I feel like, once you've been around the game for a little while, you're gonna tell me your Mars, and I can pretty much guesstimate where you're gonna be at. And see, that's what I mean. That's why I feel like the tune is the most important part. It's like after you put the parts on, how do they work in unison? You know what I'm saying? And I think that a lot of people just bypass that. They'll just buy expensive parts or this, that, and the third, and they'll just move on. Shout out to my mom. She's actually tuned in. She said, do you think that are electric vehicles more costly to maintain, in your opinion, than gas?
I mean, I guess when it's time to change that battery,
that's when it gets.
It's the price of another car.
These cars still have, still need brakes.
Yes.
They still need regular stuff, suspension.
Right.
So it's not just about the engine. It's still a car.
Right.
Whether it's wiper blades or whatever, you still got to maintain it.
Right. But the engine wise, and see, that's another thing too. Like the engine wise with those cars, like or not with the electric cars, but just engines in general now, they seem to generally be lasting longer.
No, they are.
Like,
I mean, look at these, Toyota from back in the days, or even Volvo.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, with 1 million miles or whatever.
Right.
So it's about really maintenance.
Them 4-cylinder 2.3 turbos they used to put in the Mercs. You guys know about the Mercs back then. The Mercs guys making 5 and change with a Ford 4-cylinder and a Volvo 240. Or a Merca.
Right.
So.
Shout to my guy Draco. He said something very interesting here. He said with the ease of tuning, with the ease of tuning, are you starting to see more tuning shops die down? Are you starting to see less tuning shops, like guys probably you was out with and they just folded up shop, like it ain't even worth it no more to them?
All right. So when I started tuning, I was actually writing programs from scratch. We're talking about
that's crazy.
Trigger points and when the coil fire, when injector fire, and tuning like that. We was actually writing programs from scratch.
Right.
Nowadays, like I was saying, now satellite stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just download, something in your phone. So in that aspect, some tuning shops may kind of, disappear.
Or do regular mechanical stuff.
Versatile.
Yeah.
Like a lot of different platforms, you may see a way on the way up.
Or just be a regular mechanic shop.
That too.
Wow.
So you'll see that, whoever is probably still tuning, they're doing something right. They're doing something right.
Right. Where people know to come to them.
Let me ask you, so has anybody ever brought you guys I know it's a little early, but the GR Corolla, the 3-cylinder, have you ever tuned it?
I've seen them things making some crazy power.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I've seen them making some crazy power.
Oh yeah. So what would be the dream car you would like to have? Like, first off, have you tuned high-end vehicles? Have you ever got, like, what's the craziest thing you have tuned? There's a couple questions I have there. What's the craziest thing you put on the dyno with wheels and you was like, yeah, you know what, we're making power with this junk?
No, I ain't gonna lie, man. Those American V8s, man. V8s turbo,
yeah,
is a different beast.
They making power.
It's like you can't compare 1,000 horsepower V8 to 1,000 horsepower 4-cylinder.
Not even close.
Right.
Torque.
They measure the same, but we're gonna go back to high school calculus. the area under the curve. Two different things.
The dynos look crazy. Like it looks like a McDonald's M. Like it goes all the way up and then falls down. Like it's crazy.
Things.
One is working at his one is working at his peak though. Like the 4-cylinder turbo, even making 1,000. It's at its max.
It's fighting. It's fighting for its life. Yeah.
Right. That V8 is like that V8 turbo is like we just getting started.
It flexes. It shakes its arms out and it'll be like, all right, cool. Like them Vipers, right? Mm-hmm. Guys having 3,000 horsepower, single turbo or twin turbo V10. Guys making almost 3,000 horsepower. That's 2,800. And it's not even breaking a sweat.
Mm-hmm. So with that being said, you've tuned high end. Like you ever tuned like a Lamborghini, Ferrari? No. Is that a preference for you? Like, nah, I don't want to get involved with that, or people just never really brought it to you?
I mean, if somebody bring, I don't care what car you bring. If you bring me a car and you have the software and the hardware for me to tune it, I'll tune it. To me, there's nothing special about tuning an engine. I've tuned so much different variety of engines. Like, how different could it really be? You know what I mean?
Volkswagens, which are headaches. You tune plenty of those, baby. Mm-hmm. VR6s and GTIs. So I mean, yeah, right. Car's a car, right? So
that's actually interesting. And as far as motorcycles, you tune motorcycles too?
I mean, guys have asked me to tune it. I've done like jet skis and stuff like that.
Oh, that's fine.
I can't tune. Yeah, it's an engine. It's an engine. So. They do the same thing. Them jet skis, they turbocharge them, supercharge them.
What do you put them on like a
right? Like you put them on a stand? Elaborate that a little bit.
So with those, usually I'll do what they call like I log the runs. So I'll go out on the water with them.
Yo, that's fire. Drive and come back with a laptop. That's crazy.
Download it, see where it adjusts.
But you can't measure horsepower with a jet ski.
No. So they usually like measure the speed, like how fast it could go. You're gonna get that rim resistance, and you know how much power you're kind of making.
Right.
That's about how fast you could actually go with.
Your jet skis are crazy. It's like a bike without the control, right? Like the water, like you gotta cut it and
I get tricky on the water, man. Like you can't really do like. So you usually gotta go early in the morning when it's not no
tide.
Yeah, because now it get crazy.
Yeah, you jumping.
When you do speeds there, so different.
Wow. So what is it like having your dad give you this kind of information? Like a lot of people, when they get into any kind of field, right? A lot of times they at a disadvantage. They may not have come up in it. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
See, you grew up in it. So now, what's it like to have, like, that's like I say it's always like having like a human encyclopedia, like right next to you. Like you'd be like, you know what, this is going wrong. You could call him. What is that like for you?
I mean, it's great. Like the fact that anytime I'm stuck with something, say I'm trying to figure something out, because I always will try to figure something out on my own before I ask him for help, just because that's going to help me. But if you understand something on your own, you feel me? It's going to be a lot easier to, like, say when I work on my own car, if I have to work on somebody else's car, it's going to be good. But when he comes in and he tells me exactly what to do, he helps me mainly since he has been in the tuning game for years. He's seen a lot of these cars. He's seen a lot of these builds. So he helps me better with diagnosing, because that's pretty much a very hard thing to do. Diagnosing certain problems in certain cars, especially the BMWs, is very electronic nowadays. Something will be wrong. You're misfiring. You don't know what's going on. You don't know if it's the plugs. You're changing everything.
Right.
And it could be an ECU. It could be something that you wouldn't even know to look at.
It's so crazy how the cars and a human body kind of almost the same, right? Like I trained people for 17 years. Like I know I could look at someone and see why their feet turn out. If it's a tight calves or the hips are tight. If like the knee and the foot turn one way, I know it's the hips. I know if the knee points straight and the foot turn out, I know it's the calves. Like it's very weird, right? Like air and fuel, your lungs and your heart,
right? Your
coolant, your blood. You know what I mean? Like digestive is exhaust.
Yep.
And then you guys got to go figure out different type of people, different type of personalities come and see you every day. And then you got to see. Some people bring you cars that got over 100,000 miles. Some are brand new. And then you got to go and see, all right, are the rings bad or is the turbo bad?
And sometimes they don't even know what's going on. A lot of cars will come in from another tuner. Their tuner can't figure out what's going on here.
Right.
So we're trying to fix another person's headache. You feel me? And we're trying to do the best that we can, because we always want the customer to be happy and be satisfied.
Right. That is word. So on top of tuning, you fixing a car, like it's like,
a lot of guys will do that. They'll actually like set you up. Like, I just need a
literally.
then they come in.
Them bitches somebody else, and you know.
They know their car's not even tunable. They still bring it anyway, just so you can figure out what the problem is on their car. Because they brought it everywhere else. People come from 10 different other shops. They can't find what's going on for years. They come by us 10 minutes, we get it done. And they just like, and they bring a lot more people in. It's just nice to see because like that. I'm looking at my dad like he's a hero after that.
Right.
Because if you going somewhere else for 10 years, you spending all this money here, and nobody's able to figure it out. People always come to the shop and we always figuring it out. So he has to be doing something right. And I see that it transfers onto me because when I'm diagnosing somebody's car, this, your map sensor, you got it as a stock map sensor. The whole time you need to rechange it to the 3.5 bar. They wonder why it's not reading. And now with that, it's just like, it's great because now I know how to diagnose the cars. And that helps a lot with tuning. A lot of tuning, if you don't know about cars, it's going to be very, very, very hard to tune the cars because you're not going to know, if you don't know how the things work, the spark plug sparking, the gaps on the spark clutches. When you tune your car,
compression.
You feel me? If you're not a mechanic, you don't know, you're not a tuner too much. You're probably not even thinking like, oh yeah, I tuned the car. I got my plugs at this so that it has enough spark.
Right.
Now you're going for a plug change, a random shop putting the they don't know your car's tuned. They don't know certain things. So when you're putting in your spark plugs now, your car's probably not going to run the same. You're not even going to know what's going on. You're trying to figure out what's the problem. The whole time it could be such a small thing as the gap.
Wow. Shout out to the young kids who pay attention.
How many blown head gaskets have you guys had coming to you guys? You know, like, you know, when head gasket is a progressive thing that gets worse.
Sometimes you could tell, like a lot of guys will come with a car.
Yeah.
Once you start seeing like cooling balls in the back seat and stuff like that, we get that. But you know, again, you know, I'm so used to stuff like that. That stuff don't even bother me. I just do the best I could do.
Like the Walmart receipt. That's great.
I was telling you when you got here, like, for those that don't know, if you check the earlier videos of Gutterball Rally and Rally Radio, we went to a Horsepower Wars in 2012, right? Mm-hmm. And it was an event that they was having in Deer Park at that time.
E-Spec, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it went
that was one of the wildest ones I'd ever been to.
Somebody crashed outside, remember that?
Yeah, he crashed at 240 or something outside.
Yeah.
So I remember this event very vividly because at that time, my homeboy, shout to my homeboy Courtney, he had a M3, 4-door M3 at that time. Nice car. And this battle was going on. It was his homeboy that had a Porsche. He had a red Porsche. Mm-hmm. So it was the Dyno Wars. Everybody putting their cars, see who could make the most. And I think it was M&S Performance that came in there, and they had, obviously they was known to bring these 1,400 horsepower Supras or whatever, 1,000 horsepower Supras. And this guy just wasn't trying to hear it. And I mean, I feel like we was there. I
remember that 911.
I feel like we was there for a little while, man. And the Supra stepped off. I think he put up like 1,000. And I think the M&S Supra put up like 1,100. So he's like, all right, I'll be back. And he came back with a dialed up tune. Like I said, the cars sound totally different. It was open and the bumper was so, like, I was like, okay, he did all of this, right? Yeah. And I think he put up 1,280. But then the M&S put up 1,400. Because it was like, and I remember those because it's like, we don't have events like that no more. And I remember you was kind of headlining. You was headlining that. So is Horsepower Wars over in that opinion? Or
no, I love the Horsepower Wars, but back to what Des was saying. Some dude crashed outside.
Yeah, Bucky's car.
So you have these guys,
damn.
You go out to have fun, but they want to drink, they want to do crazy stuff, and I don't like that. I don't know. I guess I'm getting old or whatever it is, man, but I can't.
But there need to be weight classes with Horsepower Wars, right? I think that, you know what it is? Horsepower Wars help the community, but it also hurt now. It's just like, it's like boxing, right? Like if a guy take a loss, all of a sudden he's a bum, right? Like that was the whole Mayweather effect. Now it's starting to go away. Everybody's getting a loss, which is fine. You know, the higher level competition, you have a higher level of losing. So I think they should be weight classes. Like, no, guys, 500, 600.
No, but we have classes, but it's not like weight. It's going to be more like
power
classes.
Engine cylinder, like 8-cylinder, 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder, or you force induction or NA, normally aspirated.
But I know where you're going when you're saying like we here to have a good time. We're not here to get silly. And I always, like I said, maybe I'm the same because the older I get, the more I'm just like, if we're gonna be risking people's lives out here, we might as well just go home. Right. You know what I mean? Like, rather not get
rather
it done.
do it. Yeah, because usually, like the guy went at the shop. Like every January he likes to have one. But the last one that I had, dudes want to fight, and I'm like, I don't want that kind. I don't want to be associated with something like that.
I hear you.
The car community, and that's overall because now it's like, see, back in the day, like in the 90s, guys were more respectful. We was talking about last week, right? We was talking about it was unique to see a guy with a turbo Ford Pro,
right?
First generation Ford Pro with the pop-up lights. And I'm like, yo, I didn't care if the dude made 210 horsepower on the dyno.
Right.
But that, you heard that blow-off valve, he had some springs. It took creativity. Now it's a battle of ego. And I think now with the younger people, it's now about who can cut in and out of traffic the best and go on Instagram, like the people that train surf. It's the same type of thrill. Now it's like, nah, I don't want to sit in the parking lot. I want to get on the Grand Central and go weaving out of traffic and say, yo, I'm nice, son.
And that to me, I think that's like where we are now. Like
that's on another level. That's now you're getting reckless. Now you're involving other people.
Right.
Parents, kids.
And that's what caused a lot of these problems.
Yeah.
It's one thing you go out there, go kill yourself, but don't endanger other people while they're doing your stupidness.
Right. And we say that here at Rally Radio all the time. We like, yo, I always say, listen, it's all good, if it's an empty light to light, something like that. But when dudes want to take it into the highway and really start acting stupid, it's like, nah. Because you got so many situations, people losing family members, and stuff like that. So I guess that's saying it's a closed door event. Like any horsepower wars is like, you got to be invited. Because I feel like at the end of the day, that's how you control, you control the outcome more. When people are like-minded, like you, they like, yo, you know what? Yeah, I get it. I'm just here to just look at these cars, make a couple power. We probably laugh about it, and then we go on.
But then you get guys, you guys get tuners, right? So how many you get guys probably coming to you guys who have no insurance, no registration, and
see, that's good because that's why I have a dyno facility.
Yeah.
See, before when I used to tune in the street, but that's why I decided, you know what, I need to get a shop.
Yeah.
Because you got guys, if their brakes is good, they can't stop or whatever, the tires is
or they got a gun in the car.
You don't even know if they could drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
that's actually interesting.
Like when guys ask me, you don't do street tunes? And I'm like, no. Like, why would I do a street tune? Like, what can I actually accomplish out of a street tune I can't simulate on my dyno?
The maximum
my dyno weighs 3,000 pounds.
Right.
So that simulates the weight of a car.
Yeah.
The only thing you're not doing is turning back and forth.
Right.
You can brake on the dyno, accelerate on, you can do whatever you want on the dyno.
But guys going to Jackie Robinson, right? Like, and I always tell people the Jackie Robinson's for slow cars. You got 2 poles and then you want Pennsylvania.
Right.
So
my thing is, what is the most dangerous part of like when I see the engines go up, like let's say for instance you put a car on the dyno, right? You bring them up to like 3rd, 4th gear pull. When they coming back down and you hear that engine, is that a dangerous part of tuning also? Like when you hear that engine coming back down, like it's up and then you hear that.
I think the worst part is going up.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not worried about it coming down.
So when it come down, that's not a dangerous part to the.
Nah, it's usually going up because going up is when it's on the low. Yeah. Coming down is just spinning. It's just freewheeling.
Okay. There's no reps.
Yeah. So I mean, I'd rather tune them slow cars all day than tune some of these high power cars.
Why is that?
You got to worry about the drive. This is real stuff that happened. I've seen clutches come out of transmissions. I've seen drive shaft busting. I've seen tires fall apart.
Pistons.
It's a lot of stuff, man. It's a lot of stuff. That to me, I think it's dangerous. I had a drive shaft come out and took the legs off of a chair. So it was like, that's crazy.
Or pistons going through the cab.
Well, I've seen a video of that, but I've never really experienced
pistons coming through.
It went through the
piston took off a dude's head or something, a piece of his head or something.
You know what's funny about that? When a car blown up, I had a 7M. And it blew up on a highway, and oil came out the muffler. Like I tried to pull the dipstick out, and I'm lifting the motor up. The motor's doing like this. You can ask Ron. You guys Ron about that. When it blew up, it was none but smoke in the car, and then you hear like, when a rod breaks, you hear like, yo, it's bouncing. The piston is bouncing inside the iron block.
Yeah, that's crazy. So now with that being said, right, what's the one thing you will want our audience to know as far as about tuning? Like, what's the like? Obviously, everybody's tuned in as car people,
Mhm.
and I don't know if this matters to you, but
Mhm.
there's people out here like, yo, I'll be there next week.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they already like, yo, they already got their hands up. They ready to come to you to tune. What's the one thing you want them to know, like as far as like Wayne Speed? Like, what's your motto? Like, you're gonna tune the car like it's your own.
Mhm.
Like, what is that's what you want them to know?
No, I don't. I definitely treat your car like it's my own. So I'm not gonna do something to your car I wouldn't do to my own personal car.
Mm.
You know, I'm not gonna put you on the edge or like some guys are like, yo, Wayne, listen, I know you safe. They'll tell me straight up. They know I'm safe. Like
that's the first thing they say too.
And I'll do it to a certain limit.
Right.
Like I'm not gonna do nothing crazy. Like lean them out where it's knocking and melting off stuff. Like I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
But so, all right, for example, most cars you tune them in the 11s, right?
Yes.
11 Air 4. So I would try to keep it very safe. So let's say a low 11 versus like a 11.9, where he may go out on the street and go into the 12s or whatever.
12.5 and then blow up.
Happen. So you always want to have that cushion because you're not going to lose that amount of power going from 11.1.
And also too, temperatures outside. When you tune my car, when you tune my Cressida, after everything, I was in booze. It was like 11.3, 11.3.
Mm-hmm.
The car felt great. And then when it got cold outside, the car really pulled. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, people don't realize, like, you tune it for everyday driving too, because you might want to get on, then you might want to track.
Yeah, definitely. You want to keep the cars reliable.
So tuning it, keeping it reliable, treating it like it's your own. Yeah. I don't see how you could. I pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I pay for that kind of service. Like, that means I can trust you. Mm-hmm. It ain't gonna be like, oh, you know what? I brought my car to him. He said he blew the engine. He tried to.
That's like, that's like a barber that want to keep trying to test the luck on your hairline. Yeah, like, all right, now I'm gonna get a little bit sharper.
And then it's
all the way over.
You know what I'm saying? Nah, I'm good. I'm good. Listen, Wayne Speed, thank you for taking the time to come here to Rally Radio.
Well, thank you for having me.
We appreciate you being here. Hopefully, when you do have those nice little horsepower wars that are closed off to the public, you don't forget about us. You don't forget about us. But shout to y'all for coming in. Just shout them out one more time. Let them know where they can find y'all, and so that if they want to do business, they can find y'all. Let them know real quick while y'all over there.
Well, I'm on Instagram, Wayne Speed Com, Facebook also.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you just Google, Wayne Speed, you'll see my contact information.
Can't miss it. I actually tried that. Because a lot of times when we bring people in the interview, I just want to make sure, we make sure everything is. And when I looked, I was like, it's coming up. YouTube.
The website is dated, but that's how long I had it. This is going way back. So.
That's a good thing, though. That's a good thing. That means that that's like people who change their cell phone numbers all the time. I don't trust people like that. Like, why you always got a different
same phone?
That's a fact. I have my number since 03.
I always make. So shout them out. Let them know where they can find you too, kid.
You can find me on Instagram at Chris E90 or E9X, 2 S's at the Chris.
Let's go.
Doing everything, from BMWs, Supras to Hondas. We getting busy.
I'm gonna have to talk to you about that N54. I'm seeing a lot of 335s going for a good price because the big thing was the injector issue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then people, I guess, fixed it and figured out like now they could run more. So they're pretty reliable now with the fixing injectors and.
Okay. As long as you stay on top of your maintenance, I feel like the BMWs are definitely the best, especially power wise. I didn't have to build the motor. I'm sitting at 500 comfortably, low boost. It's just like, how could you not? How could you not want to do that?
Shout to my guy Seneca. He said he on his way to follow you now because he got the Beamer too. And not for nothing, it's a lot of guys out here that's looking for honest work. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like honest work. People do
definitely. They don't want to be spending all this money and then not getting the results. That's the worst thing you want to do.
Right. And on top of that, it's like you want people you can trust. I always say it all the time. Like, as long as I've been dealing with cars, I've had people I couldn't trust. And it's like now they stealing from you.
Yeah.
And you like, I'm paying you. Like on top of me paying you, you already stealing.
The worst is bad wiring.
Oh, man.
Where it's like now I want to fight you because now my wiring looks like a bird's nest and I got an automatic car and it's moving like it's got a 2-step when I put it in neutral.
That's ridiculous. Yeah. Shout to Turbo Max 2. One Turbo Max 2. He says safe and making and breaking records. That's a win-win. Shout to him. And like I said, shout to y'all for showing up. We appreciate y'all greatly. If y'all want to sit in for the little bit of the rest of the show, you can. I know you a busy man.
You gotta get back to work, bro.
But I appreciate that right there tells you everything you need to know about Wayne Speed. Let's go. Shout to him one more time. We appreciate you for stopping through.
Thanks again.
Yes, thank you. We appreciate y'all. So we in good shape. So now you know how we do. We're going to get right back to the rest of the show that we got going on, man. We appreciate everybody who came in. Shout to my guy, Dexter. Shout
to Dexter.
Yeah, it's good. I know. Look, we turned the air conditioning on. We tried to be right in here, man. But we appreciate y'all. We really do. Thank you so much, y'all. Thank you. Thank you. Right. Telling you, we learned a lot, and we will be seeing you soon. All right. Yes, we appreciate y'all. We appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. Thank you. I hope everybody out there in Raleigh Radio Land learned something. I hope all of y'all learned something out there when it comes down to tuning. Thank you, gentlemen, one more time. With that being said, it's the bearded one in the building. We got my man Dez, the nose hunter here. Shout to everybody who tuned in, paying attention. Shout to Seneca. He said, I had to send my DME on the other coast to tune, so I'd rather have somebody local. Well, you already know where they is. You know where to find them. Wayne Speed, everybody. That was a great interview.
No, it was.
That was a great interview. I really appreciate people who do good business
and with integrity, and that's what I said. I always had to mention that. Listen, he touched the Cressida and he tuned it with a super AFC, and the car was running perfect.
Wow,
that's how old school I knew. And I told you he tuned my uncle's Maxima at TNR as well.
Yes.
And that alone shows you when you do business with integrity, because a lot of guys will want you to blow up so that you can go do the work through them
and come back
to them. Like guys want you, or they will want to like I said, advance in timing and doing stuff like that to try to get one more pound of boost out of the engine.
That's ridiculous.
Just for bragging rights. Because now it's not about the customer. Now it's about the tuner's ego now. Because he said, well, I want a record with a, red turbo in it.
Well, I put out that's crazy.
Yeah.
Shout out to everybody who's tuned in, paying attention. We got a little bit of more show left that we're going to bring you real quick. Got some things that we want to talk about here. But with that being said, I want to shout out everybody who came into the show today. Like I said, shout out to my guy, Wayne Speed. Shout out to him, his son, and Dexter. We appreciate those guys for coming through. Shout out to the nose hunter. He's here with me in the building. And we got a couple things we're going to talk about before we get up out of here. You already know what it is. We'd like to bring you a little bit of news. With that being said, we're going to jump right into our weekly specs. Let's get right.
Weekly specs. Auto news for all the listeners, only on Raleigh Radio.
All right, y'all know how we get down, man. With that being said, it looks like the Cadillac CT4, CT5, CT6, and Chevy Camaro are roped into GM's 10-speed transmission recall. First off, what's your thoughts on that, on American companies having recalls on their transmission? We were just talking about that ZF transmission. He said it's pretty much bulletproof.
So I'm gonna say this. Mm-hmm. They shouldn't have had an automatic in the car in the first place. But no, I'm just playing. You got to understand, the automatic transmission, they're making them with too many gears. They're making them too advanced. I have an 8-speed in my Genesis, my G80 3.8. The more advanced they get, the more things to break. I don't think it's GM's fault. I respect them for recalling them and stuff like that.
Right.
I do miss the Camaro because that was the only V8 car that you can get under – sports car that you can probably get under 35,000.
Right.
Base, right? So, fix it, but they don't make the car anymore. So, hopefully they'll bring it back. I think they will. I think they'll bring the Camaro back.
Yes.
They did last time in 2002?
Yeah.
2000. Yeah, they got rid of the Camaro. They brought it back out in 2010.
Right.
So I think they fixing it will definitely help, and for future cars too.
I think that ultimately, when you see this transmission recall, I think the thing about it the most is that it's the cars that we like, the CT4, 5, 6. You know what I mean? And the Camaro. At the end of the day, it said it's excessive wear within the transmission's valve body can lead to a fluid leak, resulting in pressure dropping, which could cause valves to move unexpectedly. Now, we also know that if you lose a hydraulic fluid, it could also probably seize up on you.
Yeah.
So at that point, you got a real problem right there. But it looks like GM is getting ahead of it, and they're trying to make it a recall. Some car companies are just let it burn. But GM recently got burned for letting their V8 engines from the 2006 on, I believe, to the 2010 those engines had premature engine wear and failure.
It was with the I think it was with the cams.
Yes.
That's what the problem with my own had with the G8. All the G8s from back then had problems with the cams, something with the cams wearing down, and it's not a hard fix, but it's just something that customers shouldn't have to do. Like I always criticize BMW, right, with the E90s, E92 M3s. If I buy a car like that, I gotta go change rod bearings, and throttle actuators, and all type of crazy stuff. So that means I gotta buy the car and then drop $3,000 or $4,000 immediately,
right,
on top of the price just to make the car engine decent.
That's and at that point it's like, it is what it is, right? First off, shout to everybody who's tuned in, paying attention. Let's go through this a little bit. We got my guy Draco. He called up earlier. I know he was having problems with the phone lines, but it looked like it's still going on. We'll fix it. We'll figure that out. Shout to my guy Tiny. Shout to One Wheel of Steel. And don't forget, later on today, we having our very first Rally Radio Gutter Ball Rallies first of the season, Speed and Greet. We're going to be meeting over there at Exit 13 on the Southern State, westbound. And we're going to take it the rest of the way to Totten'sville. We're going to be outside. Obviously, it's going to be on camera. There's going to be a lot of things going on out there. Like I said, shout to One Wheel of Steel. Shout to my guy Marlon, resident Toyota guy. Shout to Millertown, resident Ford guy. Shout to my guy Kurt Musami, he tuned in. Appreciate that. Shout to Mr. 2J Castings. Tremendous. Shout to my guy Tiny. He's tuned in. Shout to Luis Hernandez, my guy. Appreciate him. One Turbo Max 2. Appreciate him. Appreciate Seneca as well. You already know what it is. We appreciate everybody who tuned in, who rocked with us. That's the one thing we really want to talk about. I want to talk about that GM recall, because now it's like, you know what? That could that could potentially be a lot of different vehicles. You figured the Camaro was already
the Blackwing.
Right. Now we talking big problems out here. But with that being said, man, we're gonna go into a couple things. I wanted to talk about this too, actually. And a lot of people, don't want to really bring up the electric vehicle thing. They see what's going on with them. But it looks like Tesla owners are trading in their EVs at record levels. And at the end of the day, I find this interesting. A lot of them are not rocking with this guy, Cobra. They're not rocking with Cobra Command over there. But now it looks like, a lot of them are giving their cars back, whatever. That don't hurt nobody but them.
Well, shout out to the liberals for doing what us car enthusiasts wanted them to do.
Right.
Boycott one of the biggest electric car companies in the world. Shout out to them, because they were the major ones who were for emission taxes. They were the major ones that were for bought cash for clunkers,
right,
and things like that. Where now it's hard to get a tuner car because they've been more in the junkyard. If you want a throwback car, right? Like what do you call this? Cape called up about having a Starion. You could barely find a Conquest or a Starion anymore because they're all in tin cans, right?
Right. So it's very interesting. I look at it as, you know what? It is what it is. I never liked the car anyway. So if you're going to give it back, give it back. You're going to use the battery, lithium ion, and all that.
You know what? The prices of those are going to be super cheap. And, now we could just swap V8s in them all. V8s and 2Js in a Tesla. Imagine a JZ Tesla. That would be perfect.
That is hilarious. With that being said, we got a couple more segments before we get up out of here. We're going to jump right into our Hot Mods. You already know what it is.
Hot Mods, the newest and freshest. Hey, modifications, parts, and fashion. Only on Rally Radio.
So, every time you hear Nissan Nismo Z, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
The same chassis for the last 20 years.
Yeah. Well, it looked like Nismo is out here making cutlery. They're out here making Nissan Nismo Z chef blades that they're actually using in the kitchen. I love to find stuff like this, because to me, this is the kind of stuff that you would see in a car guy's home. Like, you go to his house, like, yo, what you doing?
Nissan has to do, Nissan's been very stubborn in the past 15 years.
Okay.
They're not listening to the consumers. They're not listening to the enthusiasts. Mm-hmm. They're making the same stuff. I like the 400Z.
Right.
I would love to have one.
Mm-hmm.
The prices are dropping pretty quick. I'm seeing ones going for like 32, 33,000. I saw on Carvana with a 6-speed manual. They're actually going to be better in the used car market. But Nissan has to do this stuff to look unique. Mazda never had that problem with being unique, right? Mm-hmm. Mazda's having a slow comeback, and You know, they have an inline six. What is Nissan doing? Nissan got rid of the Maxima. It got rid of the Altima. You know, I mean the Altima. Yeah. So basically, you know, what else are they going to do? They're going to start making pots and pans. This is a car company that has lost its footing completely and doesn't know where to go. We know what Nissan should do.
I mean,
but does Nissan know what they want to do? No.
I think ultimately Nissan is suffering from a bad CEO, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, I don't know. This is the kind of stuff I'm into. I'm like, I was like, that's like what did I see the other day? I was watching Larry Chen.
Yeah.
And he went to this Honda collector's home. And the guy had Type R shift knobs for doorknobs. Like, that ain't cheap. You know what I'm saying? Like, doing something like that is not cheap. And he had the Type R shift knobs just for doorknobs to get to.
But they're doing what the European companies have been doing, right? Like Ferrari, Lamborghini. They've been doing that for a long time. Ferrari has closed.
Yes.
I went to the Ferrari store and looked at the cars there. They have jackets. They have hats.
Yes.
They have keychains. They have things for that. You know. So Nissan's trying to do that. The problem with doing that is that you don't have quality cars, so nobody's probably going to care about it. Besides, maybe I get a GTR waffle maker or something like that. Maybe, you know.
I mean, who can say they have one? That's actually interesting. But with that being said, we appreciate everybody for that. Now we're gonna get to my favorite segment of the show, which is gonna be
It's the Understeer.
What up?
Where we like to ask, what the hell were you thinking?
So this Understeer right here, this is one where it's actually a weird thing to hear. Off-duty NYPD cop busted for driving with bogus license plates. I don't even know, like, you're a 20-year veteran. Hey, listen to this, y'all. An off-duty NYPD detective was arrested after he was seen driving a car with fake license plates. Detective Eric Blake's arrest comes as cops continue to crack down on drivers of ghost cars, vehicles with fake or altered license plates to avoid tolls or commit crimes. The 20-year NYPD veteran was heading south on Francis Lewis Boulevard in Queens at about 10:45 p.m. Thursday when he was pulled over for having an obscured license plate in his 2014 Ford. As officers investigated further, they learned that the license plate was fake, the car was unregistered and uninsured, and Blake, 46, had a suspended license. This is a cop.
Well, how do you a cop if you don't have a license? You can't drive a cop car.
I don't know. That's why I said there's got to be more to this.
But I say like this, right?
There's got to be more to it than this.
This congestion price and everything that's still going on, these are going to be the ramifications. Even people that have worked for, let's say, civil service or something like that, people are going to stoop to all type of levels to keep money in their pocket. You think that you're going to spend, what was it per day? $9 a day times 5 every single week, $45. And they say multiplied by 10 weeks. That's $450 in 10 weeks just to go to work. People are going to do whatever. Now, having a car window, I understand a plate cover, but registered insurance, that's kind of reckless.
No, that's what I'm saying. So it has to be more to it.
Yeah.
Because they actually brought him in. If he's a police officer, that's why I'm shocked. He's a detective, 20-year detective, and they brought him in. I can almost guarantee that when they pulled him over, they found out he was a cop. He started talking crazy to them, and they was like, "Yo, we're not having it."
I think it was more of a sergeant that did it.
It said detective.
No. But
you talking about the officers?
The officer that probably arrested him they probably had a sergeant with him, because I know 95% of the time, if it was just regular cops, they would probably just let him go and tell him to like leave the car there or something like that. It probably was a sergeant that's trying to look good, that's trying to show by example, to do the right thing to other officers.
So to me, that's crazy. So now it's like the detective was charged with official misconduct, offering a false instrument, aggravated unlicensed operation of a motor vehicle, operating without insurance, and driving with a facsimile license plate. I mean, these are some charges. They said he's arraigned. He's been in the NYPD since 2005. And he is currently assigned to the Detective Bureau of Queens South Video Collection Team. I don't know. That just sounds crazy. But I will say this. At the end of the day, if anybody should know better, it should be Detective Blake.
Well, guess what, right? People who work in different agencies around the city have broken rules. I can say about the person that was probably driving around with a easy pass from a bus, in his car. that was a story that was on the news a long time ago, right? So people, people break all type of rules, right? Like people have like I said, ran up about $100,000 in Easy Pass using a unauthorized Easy Pass. People do things. I don't understand with a salary that he probably is making.
Yeah,
that he'll have to do that.
But he did do it. I just that's why today.
Yeah,
he gets.
It's the understeer.
Does he know what?
Where we like
and
to
an Ford
ask,
too. Like
what the hell were you thinking?
Right?
And a Ford, probably a Ford Explorer too. Like something not even worth doing that for. Where you could just go to DMV and just get registered in place. It's probably cheap.
Either way, he knows better. Like, what are you doing? And he risked his whole. Like now, I don't even know how he keep his job. Shout to Nicholas Cavalier. He tuned in. He said, maybe we could work something out on a tune for a bunch of free car detailing. Sounds good. Shout to my guy D Knight, said what's good. And shout to my guy Reeks. He said cops do illegal stuff for it, especially because they can get away with it. They're supposed to uphold the law, not be above the law. That's a fact. That is a fact. With that being said, we have reached the end of the show.
Thank you.
It has been one heck of a show. Like I said, shout to Wayne Speed for coming through and answering some questions and chilling with us here at Rally Radio. We appreciate him. Shout to Dez and Nose Hunter. He came through.
Thank you.
Shout to everybody who tuned in, who rocked with us. Shout to my guy D Knight. Shout to my guy MacGyver who's calling me. I'm gonna hit you right back. But
shout
to everybody who's tuning in, who's rocking with us today. We appreciate all of y'all for calling up, chilling, watching The View. And don't forget, you know where to find us. Saturdays, 12 noon, Rally Radio Automotive Podcast. We are here. Tonight we have our very first Speed and Greet. I know the name is going to wear you. It comes off a little bit different, but that's not what it is. We actually get together, nice cruise on the highway. We're going to sit down, chill, look at each other's cars, get ready for the season. So if you want to join us, meet us on the Southern State, exit 13 westbound. We're going to take our little cruise down to Bell Boulevard, exit 39 on the Cross Island. At Tottenfield, we're going to pull over and we're going to get a chance to really sit there, mingle and chill. So if you're down for that, come on through. With that being said, we appreciate everybody for rocking with us. Shout out to the Nose Honey. You got any shout outs you want to give, kid?
Yeah, shout out to the whole car community. Hopefully we just bring it back and make it more diverse again.
Let's go. Make the car community diverse again. That is hilarious. So with that being said, I want to shout out everybody who rocked with us. Shout out everybody who paid attention, who download. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. We're trying to get our likes up a little bit. You already know what it is, man. We appreciate everybody who tuned in. So with that being said, until next week, we are out. Peace.
Drop the clutch, hit the gas. Rally Radio, where the fast life meets the fast lane.
Yeah.
You're now tuned into Bars and Hoops Radio. Where the world of hip-hop and sports live.
Dropping the clutch and then I hit the gas. Wheels screeching, tires burning, I'm flying past. Gotta get home quick, don't wanna miss the class. They schooling you on whips and how to make them fast. Talking about everything from cars to planes. What's hot, what's next, and how to flip the game. They talk in my language, we speak the same. That whip talk complex, but yet they keep it plain. From the news, the interviews, they keep it cool. They give reviews, everything from parts to tools. Can't lose, come to whips, they not no fools. Don't miss the show, the start time is noon. The Bearded One, S.I. Sean, they crazy though. You can't miss it, tune in to Rally Radio.
Where the fast life meets the fast lane.